Good morning for the viewers of Court Helicopter. This is our usual explainer that gives you what the law says, not what the public or what the gossipers think about it. Today, we are looking at the question of the laws called Chapter 494, called the Unclaimed Assets Act. This is the law that deals with properties that the owners cannot be traced. For example, as your relative died and he had an MPESA account, where does that money go when he dies? And you cannot access it because you don't have his PIN number. Has your father died and he had properties which you didn't know, and those properties are not known? Where do you take those properties? Has your relative or friend or sibling died and they had insurance covers, they had dividends to be paid, they had shares in banks, they had checks that had been drawn and those checks have not been cashed? All these questions, today, the law Court Helicopter answers them. The law has enacted what is called the Unclaimed Assets Act, Chapter 494, that deals with that. First, we look at what are the reasons to create this law. Many people own property, and those properties are dormant somewhere, and you can't know where they are. These properties, we have enumerated them. One, the law provides for fixed accounts. People have fixed accounts in banks. They die, or they get lost, or they relocate to other countries and abandon those property. Any property that is abandoned, any properties that is abandoned by the person holding that property, it might be a bank, it might be a school, it might be a university, it might be an insurance company, it might be a Safaricom or Airtel, it might be a government officer, or all those things. Anybody holding the property of a person who appears to have abandoned that property by law must report within 3 months to 1 year. That is the duration that there's a property here that has been abandoned. Once the notice has been issued that this property is abandoned, the property will be forwarded to the Unclaimed Assets Authority. There is an authority that is called the Unclaimed Assets Authority. That authority will receive the MPESA amount from your account. For example, your relative died and they have an MPESA account that you bury that person, you can't access that money, then that money within 3 years, Safaricom or Airtel will forward that money to the Unclaimed Assets Authority. Once that money has been presented to the Unclaimed Assets Authority, it will be put into an account called Unclaimed Assets Fund. That money will be kept there until the owner is found. If the owner is not found, the money within 3 years after it has been put there, they will be auctioned. Whatever property that has gone to the Unclaimed Assets Authority, you are supposed to claim it within 3 years. Failure to which, if it is money, government will take that money. If it is property, those properties will be sold. For example, there are people who live to America and abandon their cars at the airport. 2, there are foreigners who come to this country and abandon their properties in the house. There are people who have never gone to follow the properties of their father or their mother who died. Remember, the law says If your relatives die and you don't follow that property, the property will be forwarded to the Attorney General's office called the Public Trustee. The Public Trustee will keep those properties for a maximum of 3 years. After that, the property will be taken to the Unclaimed Assets Authority. This authority, whatever is there, the government is allowed to borrow from the Unclaimed Assets Authority to fund infrastructure, to fund services, social services. But after 3 years, if you don't claim your MPESA, if you don't claim your relatives' MPESA savings, then they will be auctioned and you will lose that property. So Court Helicopter today has brought to the attention that wherever you are alive, disclose the properties that you have to your wife. Don't fear that your wife will kill you, or to your husband, or to your children, or to your siblings, or to your lawyers, or to the people who, when you are not available, they can go and claim those property. Trillions and trillions of money and property worth have been forwarded to the Unclaimed Assets Authority. Many children are failing to go to school, yet their parents had a lot of property, but those property were not disclosed to anybody. Have you bought a title deed land in Kitengela and you have hidden that title deed in your office? When you die, your relatives cannot access it, and that is an unclaimed asset. Unclaimed assets litter the whole of this country. Listen and follow this. Whenever you buy a property, ensure there's somebody who knows that you have bought that property. Whenever you do a saving, make sure there's somebody who knows that you saved in this place. Whenever you buy shares, whenever you buy an insurance premium, ensure that somebody knows about it. Failure to which you are making government take that property through the Unclaimed Assets Authority, which is a provision under the laws of Kenya 494. You've learned it better from the only channel that continuously, without you paying, bring you what the actual law is. And you have learned any property abandoned shall be taken by government, and you leave your family destitute, you leave your family suffering. Wakili Danson Omari for the episode of Unclaimed Assets Act. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.